Recently, I posted a video on TikTok speaking out about cannabis addiction, and one of the first comments in response to my video read, "Smoking weed and probably more successful than this guy." Now, they didn't spell out the word probably, they wrote the word prob, more successful than this guy. And I realized how woefully ignorant this comment was, and it made me want to make this video today, which is set out to answer the question, can you become successful in spite of smoking weed, drinking alcohol, using nicotine, snorting cocaine, watching adult media content? Because this is, I think, a common myth or a common theme among motivational style videos that kind of say, hey, you can't become successful until you quit watching porn, until you put down the weed, until you put down the alcohol. And although I think those substances hold a lot of people back from achieving their full potential with regard to a level of success that they could achieve, that's simply not true. Now, I want to go back to this comment that was left in my video, all right? So I think it all depends on how you define the word success and what success looks like to you, because my definition of success might dramatically differ from the person who left that comment on my video's definition of success. Now, they were referring to presumably some degree of financial success, and I can find plenty of individuals who smoke a lot of weed who are financially quite successful. But I would ask the question, are they successful in their physical health? Are they successful in their mental health? Are they successful in their spiritual or faith-based health? Are they successful in their family health, in the health of their relationships? There's a lot of different factors that people do or don't value when it comes to success. And I think this is super important because a lot of times people will contact my offices, and most people that we work with, whether it's in our group coaching programs, which you can learn more about for $27 a month, hosted on school.com, link in the pinned comment, or our more expensive one-on-one coaching calls, most people I talk to are pretty financially successful, despite the fact that they're struggling with cannabis addiction or that they smoke a lot of weed, right? And they'll call me and they'll say, it's really hard for me to quit because, I'm doing so good financially. It doesn't really bother me. It's not impacting my career. It's not damaging my work. And I'm like, okay, so is that the only area of success in your life that you value? Or is there some other area in your life where you don't feel that you're reaching that maximum potential or full potential on that doesn't look as successful? Because I think a lot of people get distracted by that when they're quote unquote successful in one category, specifically finances, that doesn't automatically imply that these other areas of your life are a success. Now, I know for me personally, when it came to smoking weed and binge drinking and nicotine all day long and adult media content every night, it absolutely hindered my success in multiple categories. It hindered me financially just because I didn't have the energy or the time that I needed to be making more money because so much energy, time, and thought was going into this substance use, this addiction. And it wasn't just the time that I spent consuming it. It was also the years that I spent trying to quit. That takes time. That takes brain power. I'm going to quit today. I'm not going to quit today. I'm going to quit tomorrow. I'm not going to quit tomorrow. The amount of time and brain power people spend going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth absolutely has the ability to hinder a person's success, particularly financially, okay? It absolutely hindered my success physically. I suffered from acute psychosis. I suffered from the early stages of Cannabinoid Hyperemesis Syndrome. I was very, very sick. Compound that with excessive energy drink consumption, excessive nicotine consumption, lack of sleep from binge drinking heavily on the weekends, staying up late watching adult media content. These substances absolutely hindered my success physically. I didn't feel good physically. You can imagine what I felt like mentally. My mental health was certainly not the epitome of success, and my relationships were continual failures. I was in and out of countless relationships, some short-term, some somewhat longer-term, and they all just always crumbled at the end of the day just because I was such a mess and my struggles with addiction were such a mess. So I know for me personally, I was not able to achieve really any realm of success while on cannabis. Now, I say that though, being acutely aware of what I was going through, because if you met me on paper at the time, you wouldn't have known that I was struggling with all that stuff. What you would have seen on paper was I have a doctorate in chiropractic. I have a private practice. We were one of the top and continue to be one of the top ranked chiropractors in my area for patient care. I appeared on paper. I was always, dating like relatively attractive women, going out to these dinners, fancy things, all this stuff. I looked successful, and I could have easily, I completed a degree that took 7.5 years, right? I got a doctorate, and I didn't just complete it. I did well in school. I'd done well in many, many regards of my life, despite addiction, even throughout active addiction. So I could have looked at that and said, yo, I'm a success. I'm successful, blah, 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 just like this person. But the reality was there was so many other areas of my life where I wasn't a success. I was aware that drugs and substance use was holding me back from that. And this brings me to my final point in this video. I think if you're in the process of quitting cannabis or alcohol or nicotine or adult media content, what is it that you care about? What aspects of your life do you feel have been hindered by substance use? And what aspects of your life are important to you when it comes to attaining success? And this is what I tell people when we're working with them one-on-one or in our group coaching community on school.com, our Addiction Mindset School community, $27 a month. I hope you join, because the more people we have, the more community support we get. What's important to you? Like, that's the first thing I ask people, whether it's in a DM in our group or whether it's on a private call. Why do you want to quit? What defines success for you? What needs to happen for this quitting process to be a success for you? Is it making more money? Is it getting better physical shape? Is it landing that perfect relationship? Do any of those things even have anything to do with your weed smoking? Maybe they don't. Now, I want to say one last disclaimer too. It's interesting. I've noticed a lot of people who are successful, who have consumed weed or struggled with substance use, I noticed one of two things. One is kind of like the Joe Rogan thing, where it's like he didn't start smoking weed until he was much older, like past the point of brain development. So that's one thing that I notice a lot. Another thing I notice too with people who are successful, and consume substances, they tend to do it in moderation. It's usually not in excess. Okay, that's one thing. And then the other thing too is I know a lot more people who are quite successful, who have struggled with substance use, quit, and then became successful. And I think there's something to be said about that. I think substance use does lower your inhibition. I do think it kind of damages that delayed gratification and that assessment of risk taking that occurs in the brain on a day-to-day basis. I think all those things get damaged in substance use. So for me, and a lot of people I know that have become somewhat successful, and I'm talking financially and other areas of life, like, I always wonder, like, God, they always tell you don't do drugs, but like, here's a lot of people that did drugs that are doing quite well now. And I always notice among them, and myself included, right? Building my own businesses, my own brands, they took risk that other people wouldn't take, because most people would look at building a business or doing this or doing that and they'd be like, that's nuts. There's no way I'm going to risk doing that. And I always feel like a little part of my brain has been permanently damaged from substance use, but I think it's worked to my advantage versus my disadvantage when it comes to wanting things quick. When it comes to, risk aversion and risk assessment, I think I'm a little more comfortable with risk than other people are, as most people who have struggled with addiction are. That's why I think they make incredible entrepreneurs. But, disclaimer there, all these people I know are now sober, right? So there you go. Or they've gone to extreme moderation on substances. Their use is not nearly what it once was. Anyways, I hope you guys check all that out. And speaking of our brands, if you're struggling to quit smoking weed, quit using nicotine, quit drinking alcohol, we designed a product. It's a chewing gum. Kick It, Crave Less chewing gum. And it contains KSM-66 ashwagandha and N-acetylcysteine in it. NAC helps to reduce cravings. KSM-66 96 ashwagandha helps to increase a person's stress tolerance. Being able to tolerate stress is important when it comes to being successful, okay? And it's also been shown to help reduce anxiety and stress. So great product right here. The 90 count bottle is designed to last a month, which is about 30 days. That's how long it takes for your dopamine to rebalance. 30 count bottle lasts 2 weeks just to get you started. And then we have a 3-pack, which is cheaper. That's designed to last you 3 months, which is 90 days, the gold standard for quitting substances. It's an incredible product. We've been in business now for over a year. We're on to our 4th round of production of it. And I'm super excited to just see this product continue to help people and watch this company, hopefully get off the ground sooner or later. Who knows? Okay, guys, until next time, you can find that on YouTube Shopping or the links in the pinned comments. We got a bunch of free resources in there too to help you quit. Until next time.